The Galactic Academy prided itself on its knowledge of the universe, its ability to dissect and categorize the life forms of countless worlds. The students in Professor Vlor's class were some of the most promising young minds, eager to analyze the creatures that shaped ecosystems across the galaxy. When their next assignment was announced, there was an immediate ripple of excitement and apprehension. "We will be studying the predators of Earth," Professor Vlor declared, his deep, reverberating voice filling the hall. The screen behind him displayed images of creatures that made some students recoil: massive fangs, unblinking eyes, coiled muscles, ready to spring. Some of the students whispered among themselves. Earth had already earned a reputation as a dangerous world, filled with unpredictable elements and aggressive wildlife. It was classified as a Category 4 risk planet, not quite a death world, but certainly not a safe one either. The professor continued, his three-fingered hands tapping at his control panel. "Earth's predatory species have evolved in extreme conditions. They are some of the most cunning, relentless hunters known to the galactic community. They stalk, they ambush, they chase their prey with persistence unlike any we have observed. Even when wounded, they continue to pursue their targets. Some even hunt in coordinated packs, demonstrating an unnatural level of intelligence for such creatures." He paused, scanning the room. "For your assignment, you will each select a predator, research its capabilities, and report on its hunting methods." A student raised a trembling hand. "Professor, is it true that humans have survived among these creatures for thousands of years?" A murmur spread through the hall. The question lingered in the air, heavy with unspoken thoughts. Humans were already considered a bizarre anomaly, an unpredictable species capable of adaptation far beyond what should have been possible for their biology. Professor Vlor gave a slow nod. "Not only have they survived, but they have thrived. They have not merely outpaced their predators. They have dominated them." His expression darkened. "But there is something far more unsettling about their relationship with these creatures." The room fell into an eerie silence. Every student's gaze was locked onto the professor. "They keep them," he said, his voice barely above a whisper, "as pets." The silence shattered with gasps and exclamations of disbelief. "Impossible," one student sputtered. Another shook their head, eyes wide. They live among them? Willingly?" Professor Vlor switched the display to show an image of a large feline with gleaming amber eyes. "This is Panthera tigris, a tiger, one of the deadliest land predators on Earth. A single swipe from its claws can tear through flesh effortlessly. It hunts alone, striking with stealth and overwhelming force." Another tap on the controls, and the screen changed again. "This is Canis lupus, the wolf, a pack hunter with advanced social structures. It coordinates with others to bring down prey larger than itself." The students listened with a mix of fascination and horror. Then the screen flickered to reveal a small, fluffy creature with floppy ears and large, pleading eyes. The room fell into stunned silence. Professor Vlor took a slow breath before speaking. "This is Canis lupus familiaris, a domesticated wolf, known as a dog. Humans did not merely coexist with wolves. They altered them, bending their very nature to serve them. What was once a predator became their companion." A student in the front row nearly fell out of their seat. Wait. They took a deadly predator and turned it into that?" Professor Vlor gave a grim nod. "And they did not stop there." The screen changed once again. A lean, muscled creature, golden-eyed and swift, poised as if ready to pounce. "This is Felis catus, descendant of apex hunters." Another click, and an image appeared of a tiny, purring being curled in a human's lap. A house cat, a miniature predator that humans keep inside their dwellings. The students were in shock. A few had their mouths open, struggling to find words. One of them whispered, "What kind of species takes their world's most efficient hunters and keeps them as companions?" The professor folded his arms. "A species unlike any other." His voice lowered, taking on a more ominous tone. "And here is what you must ask yourselves. If humans have the ability to tame the very creatures that once hunted them, what does that say about them?" The question hung in the air, unanswered. And in that moment, a new fear settled over the class. Because the more they thought about it, the more they realized perhaps it was not the predators of Earth they should be afraid of. Perhaps it was the humans. The students sat frozen in their seats, their minds struggling to process what they had just learned. It was one thing to study a dangerous world from a distance, to analyze its predators with the safety of data and screens. But this was something else entirely. Humans had not just survived among Earth's most fearsome hunters, they had shaped them, altered them, and in some cases, turned them into creatures that sought human affection rather than prey. Professor Vlor let the silence stretch, watching the unease settle over his students like a thick fog. He had taught for many cycles and had seen their kind react with astonishment to alien biology before. But nothing disturbed them quite like the study of humans. There was something about their existence that defied the natural order, something that made even the most logical minds hesitate. Finally, a student near the back found their voice. "Professor," they said, shifting uncomfortably in their seat. "How did this happen? How did humans take creatures designed for the hunt and turn them into pets?" Professor Vlor exhaled slowly. "That is the question, is it not?" He tapped his screen again, and a new image appeared. A depiction of ancient humans, their primitive tools barely enough to protect them from the beasts that lurked beyond their fires. In the beginning, humans were prey. They lacked the physical advantages of the predators that roamed their world. No fangs, no claws, no natural armor. They were slower, weaker, and fragile compared to the creatures that surrounded them. The students watched as the images shifted, showing early human figures gathered in groups, wielding crude weapons, their eyes burning with something strange, something different from the instincts of prey animals. But humans, the professor continued, were never truly defenseless. What they lacked in natural weaponry, they made up for in intelligence. They learned to observe, to adapt, to outthink the predators that once hunted them. The scene changed again. A pack of wolves stalked a group of early humans, circling them, waiting for a moment of weakness. But instead of fleeing, the humans did something unexpected. They offered food. They made sounds, low, inviting tones instead of threats. The wolves hesitated, intrigued. "Some say it began with necessity," the professor said, his voice quieter. "Now, humans learned that predators could be useful. A wolf that followed a human was not an enemy. It was a warning system, a protector. And in time, the bond deepened. The hunters became allies. Then, something more. The next image showed a human resting beside a creature no longer fully wolf, its eyes softer, its form lean but no longer wild. The first domesticated dogs. A ripple of unease moved through the students. They altered them. One of them whispered, changed their instincts. And the wolves allowed this? Professor Vlor nodded. That is the mystery, is it not? Why would a predator willingly submit? Why would a creature built for the wild abandon its nature? Simply because humans willed it. The students had no answer. The professor continued. But it was not just wolves. Humans tamed felines, creatures that once hunted in the shadows. They took in birds of prey, trained them to hunt alongside them. They rode upon the backs of beasts many times their size, creatures that could have crushed them in an instant. Even great predators of the seas, sharks, orcas, have been seen, interacting peacefully with humans. Another student, their voice barely above a whisper, said, "It is not just that humans control them. It is that the predators seem to trust them." Professor Vlor's gaze darkened. "Yes, and that is what you must all consider carefully. No other species in the known galaxy has done this. We have seen civilizations that learn to avoid predators, to drive them away, to exterminate them if needed. But humans? They took what should have been their greatest threat and made them part of their lives." He turned back to the display. The image now showed a modern human, laughing as a massive canine leaped into their arms, its tongue lolling in joy. Another, a child, curled up beside a feline that could, in another life, have been a merciless hunter. The students did not know what disturbed them more: the fact that these creatures had been tamed, or the fact that they did not seem to mind. One of the students clenched their jaw. It is unnatural. Perhaps, the professor said, or perhaps it is the most natural thing of all for humans. The room fell into silence again. Then, another student spoke, their voice hesitant but filled with a growing realization. Professor, if humans have done this with their own predators, what else have they tamed? Professor Vlores' expression became unreadable. He tapped the control panel once more. This, he said, as a new image appeared on the screen, is what you must discover for yourselves. The students leaned forward, their eyes widening in disbelief as they processed what they were seeing. The realization settled in their minds like a cold weight. Because if humans could bend the will of Earth's most fearsome creatures, what else were they capable of?